Static buzz in the midnight air. Traffic and spook are in the gamer's lair. Loot drops falling like a neon rain. Pixel worlds driving us insane. Halo rings light up the fight. Sonic speed blurs through the night. Diablo's demons in the dungeon's breath. Path of exile paths leading to death. Live farming gossip in the glow. Digital whispers in the flow. EverQuest dreams keep us alive. Dead by daylight screams collide. Talk of bosses grinding bones. Legends born in gaming zones. Quests that stretch beyond the frame. In this podcast we name the game. Controllers on the heartbeat song. Spookers laugh keeps the vibe strong. Traffic's words cut through the noise. Gaming tales from girls and boys. Loot farming gossip in the glow. Digital whispers in the flow. EverQuest dreams keep us alive. Dead by daylight screams collide. Controllers hum the heartbeat song. Spookers laugh keeps the vibe strong. Traffic's words cut through the noise. Gaming tales from girls and boys. The farming gossip in the glow. Digital whispers in the flow. EverQuest dreams keep us alive. Dead by daylight screams collide.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Loot Farming and Gossip XD, where you have me, Spooker HD, and my co-host, Traffic.
Hello.
Today,
The XD
I love it
So
though.
funny.
Like it's
good.
there's
It's
a
good.
reason why I added it, and I made sure
Yeah,
I kept it in the title.
uh.
So I love it. I love it. It cracks me up every time. I'm glad it brings a smile to your face, and hopefully it brings some smiles to your guys' face as well. Today, we are going to be talking a lot about Path of Exile 1. Just because we had a new league that they brought some insane quality of life to the game that a lot of us did not see coming. For example, if you guys didn't watch the last episode, we talked heavily about the socket rework to where the sockets on gear, which is similar to PoE 2, where you have your sockets for your skill gems, but it's not just on the side, it's actually in your gear. And it used to require a specific color for a specific type of gem. You know, you have your three different skill gems. You have your strength skill gems, your intelligence skill gems, and your dexterity skill gems. Strength being red, intelligence being blue, and dexterity being green. And you needed to put those gems in the correct colored socket in order for them to work. Well, not in order for them to work. You couldn't put them in a socket that was not that color. But now with the new change, they can go into any color socket. Well, they can go into any color socket, and the majority of your socket colors are just white, which means it's open. But when you put it in the right color, you get an extra bonus. So that was the big quality of life change that we brought. So
Very nice.
before we dive into any of the specifics or community feedback that I've been paying attention to see what everybody else is either complaining about or really excited about or enjoying, let's go ahead and explain what you've been doing and how you've been making your money, which I'm sure you've already got a video out for it, right?
Kind of. I'm waiting until I get my mage blood to do my full video on Ultimatum, but I don't know. I did a lot of things. I like the league mechanic a lot. I think there's a really good argument to live in the league mechanic.
Mhm.
like buying underground water charts. Like, have you done the mechanic? Have you gone underwater yet?
I have not done what's called the multi thing. Let me put it
Okay, so go ahead.
before you go, let me put it very blunt. I all my time has been soaked up by not gaming. uh,
Okay.
but I have made it to Act 6. I'm in Act 6. I'm still in the
Oh
campaign.
God. Oh God.
But
Okay,
I've
I'll
done the
bring it down for you.
mechanic. I've done the mechanic, and I honestly, throughout the campaign, most of the times I skip a lot of the league mechanics because they're just not lucrative, or they're
Yeah.
not lucrative enough that warrants the amount of time that you spend in it. But I have to say, this league mechanic, every time I see it in the campaign, I stop and I do it because I've found pretty much huge benefit. I believe I got a 6 socket 4 link chest in Act 2.
Yep.
So
Yeah. So I'm just gonna run through it in case people just don't know. Essentially, what happens is now we have the ability to go diving underwater, and they have underwater areas that you have to explore, and those are called charts. And when you explore enough of the underwater area, you can plot a voyage to really deep dive under it. Have you done the voyages yet?
what do you mean? Where you plot the
The voyage.
different
Okay,
charts?
so you run 9 zones and you explore 9 zones, and then you get the ability to rerun those 9 zones in a layout, like creating your own like map,
I don't
and it's
know
called a
if that's
voyage.
are you able to do that in the campaign, or is that not something you can do until
I didn't touch the mechanic in the
okay,
campaign.
so I think that's probably closer to a can I'm not sure. I don't either that I'm assuming, and I could be wrong. I'm assuming that that's probably one of the later mechanic that you do after the story, maybe, because I don't think I've seen any option for that. But I'm only in Act 6, so
Okay, well, so I started with a lot of my money because I know we're all over the place. I actually started a lot of my money doing the mechanic. I really think there's a really big argument for just running the mechanic over and over and over and over and over and over and just buying the maps for the mechanic, which are called charts, and then like charting underwater voyages and running those over and over and over. I really do. I think it's way more powerful than people are giving it credit for. I think way more can get done than people are giving it credit for. And it's just this really insane mechanic. So I made a lot of my currency early doing that. And I
yeah.
used a lot of that currency to set up the character that I'm playing now, which is like fully automated AFK, completely farming ultimatum. And I just let it do. Well, okay, it's not fully automated against terms of service. I have to interact with it and set it up and press buttons. But in terms of like dealing damage and having to pay attention, it's fully automated. So I get to like run my character to an ultimatum, stand at the ultimatum, press go round. My character just auto attacks, press next round go. Character auto attacks, press next round go because I'm playing a whole cast and stun thing, which I have videos on that go into full detail about it. But yeah, I don't even like play the game. I just let it print currency for me.
Hey, and you know what? That's you're not the only one. There's other builds that do it. I think Ultimatum has mechanics in it though that you have to have special things. Like I think Ruin. Ruin is one of the big ones. Where like minion builds, which would essentially be able to AFK farm Ultimatum as well, right? I think they kind of have to have some sort of mechanic that helps protect them from Ruin, right? Because the Ruin monsters go straight for you, do they not?
I don't think the Ruin affects minions. I think it only hits you. Yeah, I think they'll skip the minions and
That's
go
what I'm
straight
saying.
to you. Yeah.
Yeah, the Ruin guys come straight for you. They don't even bother with the minions, from what I understand. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Though. But
And
needless
there's
to say.
other things like you can't block or less recovery or like fizz dot chaos dot. They put in a lot of different things to make it really hard to like automate it, and you just have to have a really hyper specialized build. So like the character I'm playing does ultimatum and it does it really well. And then when people ask me if it can do this, I literally respond to them with, it can do ultimatum really well. Like earlier today, somebody was like, hey, I'm trying to do Uber bosses. It doesn't work. How do I fix it? I'm like, that's great. It can do ultimatum really well. And he's like, that's not what I asked. And I'm like, it is though, because it can do ultimatum really well. And he's like, well, I want to do this. And I'm like, but it can only do ultimatum really well. And people have a hard time wrapping their head around that concept that like the build that I'm playing as a gladiator is tailored to do one thing and one thing only, very, 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 very well.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the iconic things coming from PoE 1 versus PoE 2, in my opinion, when it comes to those types of things. Now, I know PoE 2 is a great game, and I love it. However, in its early stages right now, it doesn't have that like extremely tailored builds in the game yet, right? About the only thing that we have in PoE 2 when it comes to those like very niche builds to do that specific thing and that specific thing only is potentially like clear versus single target damage.
Yeah. There was also like hyper specific builds for like Secamus and stuff like that, but it was so minor.
Right. And I think that's not because the game is missing anything in particular. I think it's more so PoE 1 has what how many mechanics that they have, end game mechanics. You got King's March, you got the Allflame, you got Delve, you got
Light, Legion, Abyss, Harvest.
Thank you.
Ultimatum, Essences, Beast, King's March, ore farming. There's Mercenary farming now. There's Beyond farming. There's boss farming. There's hyper map bossing. There's Delirium orb farming. There's Delirium mirror farming.
Right. And then you got your general maps and map mechanics, and then you also have like your tier 17s and bosses and pinnacles, and like you have this is one of the big differences in my eyes. There's many, obviously, as Travic just helped name off. But when it comes to like your uber boss fights and whatnot, your general build that can do like bossing in PoE 2, you actually need to like amplify that like 10 times or more to actually do the PoE 1 uber pinnacle bosses that are like insanely hard or have an insane amount of health. So you definitely have you have these crazy niche builds like Travic's Cast When Stunned that does one thing, Ultimatum, and then you have like pinnacle bossing, then you have your standard mapping bossing, and so on and so forth. And I think that PoE 2 will definitely get there, and I'm excited to see that day. But that does not say that PoE 2 is not a great game, because I love that game. And as Travic has said many times, and I agree with him wholeheartedly, PoE 2 is the better game. It just doesn't have the amount of content that PoE 1 does at the moment. But it will come.
Yes, sir.
With that being said, though, PoE 1 has still amazed us with the new league and the new mechanic and the new things that they keep doing to PoE 1, even though they are putting a lot of resources into the development of PoE 2. And I think that is amazing, because a lot of games don't really do that very well. They typically kind of teeter off on the old games while they still maintain it. They don't necessarily push out as big of quality life changes or content pushes nearly as much. So hands together for GGG. They're doing a good job. The biggest thing that I wanted to cover when it comes to like the topic of, is PoE 1 dead? Because there's a lot of people that are just saying PoE 1's dead with PoE 2, which, hey, that's a fair thing to say with the amount of development when PoE 2 first started, right? PoE 1 went how long without even anything?
It was easy to make that statement before we knew that I think it's Octavian and Andrew were working on it. So like it was really easy when PoE 2 first like launched that PoE 1 was going to die and it wasn't going to be this and it wasn't going to be that, and then as time went on and they like showcased that they added like Andrew and Octavian and stuff, I think it's a little bit easier to say that it's not dead per se.
I think it's far from dead. And if they do the job that if they do the job the way that they are and continue with the amount of things that they're doing for both games, as long as they keep the games separate enough while being like each other, right? Because you obviously they're one is made from the other as a continuation, right? So while you want some similarities, as long as they keep enough differences, then a lot of the PoE fans will bounce between the two different games, as long as they keep up that 4-month structure with the 2-month and 2-month, because 2 months is a good chunk of time for a league. And generally speaking, I think most players that play the game dedicated, they're about done probably between that 30, not 30, 30, I'd say 30 and 60 day time frame, right? They've kind of accomplished what they wanted to. They've gotten done the things they wanted to. Now they're just playing to play, have fun, or maybe try some new builds or whatever the case may be. That time obviously varies, but
we are day 1, 2, 3, 4. We're day 5, and I have friends that are like fully geared out of their mind, just done.
Yeah, and those like dedicated players. Like they've done it so many times, they know how to go from 0 to hero in a few days, and that's understandable. Yep. But for your general casual player, like I would say this league, I am definitely a casual player. I've been playing maybe a couple hours a day at most. Mm-hmm. And I'm in Act 6. A lot of players this is, you said day 4, right? This is day 6. Day 6. Sorry. That's right. Because tomorrow.
Well, yeah, because it started on Friday. So Saturday's day 1, Sunday's 2, 3, 4, day 5. It's day 5. Day 5.
Okay, so day 5, a lot of people are actually still in the campaign. We joke.
You laugh, but I know this. I do know this. Right. I was watching a streamer. Last night, late at night when I like can't fall asleep and I'm just like kind of like doing my thing. I was like farming Ultimatum last night. I'm like scrolling through Twitch, and the amount of like streamers that are still in campaign who came from PoE 2 to PoE 1 is really interesting to see. And they have a lot of if you grab like a PoE 2 person, like my friend Mud, who came from PoE 2 to PoE 1, they have a lot of really interesting opinions on like she said yesterday, she's like, how do you play this archaic game? And I was just, I was laughing so hard. I was crying. I was just like, she's like, you don't have WASD, your stuff doesn't flow right, you don't have this, the campaign feels bad. And I was like, holy shit, like, are we so conditioned to PoE 1 that we just don't notice all of these flaws? And I used to make a big joke all the time to say that like we were Stockholm Syndrome in the PoE 1, and the more I see PoE 2 players try PoE 1 who don't immediately fall in love with it.
Right.
Because, they're like not crazy like you and I, and they like look at it from a different lens. Like, it's really interesting to see how like maybe we are playing this game that's like kind of cooked, but not cooked.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy.
No. You're 100% right. Like 1,000%. So we're so conditioned. We played this game for so long. If you think about it, you go back to like the Diablo 2 days, like the OG, not D2R, but the OG D2 and D2 LOD days, Lord of Destruction expansion. Even in that game, there's a lot of people that they enjoy Diablo 4 that I've seen them go back and play the OG Diablo 1 or OG Diablo 2, not D2R. And they're like, while I could see why this would be good in today's modern state of video games, this game is terrible. It's awful. It's just, and I can see both sides. A lot of people, they really can't. They hold on to that nostalgia so close and so dear.
Yep.
They can't see both sides. I am fortunate enough that I can see both sides. And while I still love Diablo 2 and the OG, and I could still go back and play it, and I do actually go back and play some D2R here and there as well. I can definitely see the sides of like, this is archaic, as you said, and outdated, and it's missing this, it's missing that. And while I do agree, that nostalgia allows us to hold on to it and have that such great fond memory of those games. And I think that's a big issue. Like PoE 2, not 2, I'm sorry, PoE 1 is a game that held, I mean, it literally held the belt, the title for action RPGs for so long that there was really nothing that compared to it. And so we just put up or dealt with some of these nonsense systems and mechanics that we're like just conditioned to them. And while some people actually enjoy them, you know, like some people like their finger turning into a nub and not being able to move very much because they've had to click 40 billion times, you know, each league. I personally do not like that. And while I'm not against certain things and being pushed in a certain way, I totally understand the developer's side of like, this is the vision for my game, and I'm okay with that. But I think PoE, not PoE, GGG, I think GGG is actually handling it very well. They are attempting to modernize PoE 1 slowly, but enough to where it's not changing the core principles or core gameplay of the game. They're just allowing it to be less friction, or letting there be less friction, which is nice. Socket colors, which I never thought in a million years that they would change that. Boom, they changed it. You can put any gem into any socket.
It's funny because like when they announced the socket colors, I had a lot of friends who go, "Oh my god, that's going to ruin the game. Oh my god, it's going to ruin the game. Oh my god, it's going to ruin the game." And then it happens and it comes out, and then everybody's like, "Oh my god, this is the best feeling ever." And it brings me back to like thinking about like like we don't have an auction house, right? We have a currency exchange,
right?
Like currency exchange, like and an asynchronous trade. And everybody was the same way. Oh, it's going to ruin the game. Peer-to-peer trading is the best way. You're ruining the game. You're ruining the game. You're ruining the game. And the minute we have these like modern day features, your game goes from like this world where you never imagined it ever, where you kept thinking that it would ruin the game, to like now you have it and it empowers your game so much more. So I'm hoping that they keep seeing these things and they keep making like quality of life real world updates so that, you know, we can keep having a better game. Because I think once things are implemented and they like swallow their pride and release it, you notice right away it's a way better game.
Yes, 100%. Like I said, only Act 6, but I think I completely am 100% for the socket change. Not only because when I find a piece of gear, right, worst case scenario, it doesn't necessarily have the number of sockets I want, or maybe the number of links that I want, but at least I know when I do find that upgrade that has, you know, 4 sockets on it, I'm like, hell yeah, I can use this. It's an upgrade, win-win. Whereas to before, it was like, okay, does it have the sockets? Yes? Oh, cool. All right. Does it have the colors? No. Okay, well, okay, maybe we can change the colors. Or does it have the links? No? Okay, I can maybe hit it with a couple fusings. I think that's been rigged as well during campaign. I feel like when the gear can get the amount of links, it's a lot easier to fuse those amount of links together. Now, we're not talking 5 and 6 link. We're just talking your base 4 link, which is typically what most PoE 1 runs end up once you get to maps. A lot of them are pushing 4 link everything through most of the campaign, right?
Well, you can get a guaranteed 5 now in the slave pens in Act 5, and you can get a guaranteed 5 link in the beach in Act 6 if you run the league mechanic.
What do you mean guaranteed? Is this like it's just gonna?
You can guarantee yourself a 5 link body armor in Act 5 slave pens if you run the league mechanic, and you can guarantee yourself a 5 link body armor in the beach in Act 6 where you do the Lily quest if you're on the League mechanic.
Okay, that's cool to know. I think I might have gotten it. No. I think I might have gotten it, and I just didn't realize that it was like a guaranteed thing, I guess.
It's guaranteed as like a few, like maybe 2 leagues ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's relatively newer, but it's small things like that that just make the game so much better.
Yeah. Because a lot. I mean, obviously, a lot of your power comes from your skill gems having the extra support gems to go with it to buff it and make it do the extra things that you want it to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Yes,
I mean
sir.
that makes sense. So quality of life for PoE 1, I think, is immensely better, and it's because of PoE 2.
Yes.
There's
100%.
no 100%. It's because of PoE 2. With that being said, though, as far as the whole PoE 1 is definitely not dead. Here's some Steam numbers for the League launch. You know, the launch energy was pretty high. Steam Charts showed, I think, 112,000 players online with 123,000 player 24-hour peak. And then for the all-time peak, at the time, checked about 228,000 players. That's a large amount of players to be on a game at one time.
Yep.
So,
and like that's not even including, like, I play in the base client, right? So like I'm not even included in that statistic.
correct. And that's actually where I was going to go next. Is like that doesn't include consoles, which obviously I don't think it's crossplay yet. Still, right?
PoE 1 is not.
Yeah. I know PoE. I know PoE 2 is. Yeah, I know PoE 2 is. But yeah. PoE 1 is still separate. So you have your whole separate economies for. I don't even think that they're crossplay with like Xbox versus PlayStation, right?
No, it's all their own economies.
Yeah. So it's all there. It's all separated. So that's not including the Xbox players, the PlayStation players, or like the base client players. Which there's a ton of OG PoE 1 players that don't play on Steam for reasons. Actually, a good reason right now would be is if there was potentially a small patch that happens on a Tuesday, which is Steam's update day. I was trying to do, what was I trying to do? I don't remember what I was trying to do, but I was trying to play a Steam game with some friends on Tuesday, and I couldn't because Steam went down. Steam was offline, so I couldn't play. I couldn't be online, and I think that's been a big thing that I've seen with PoE is that they'll do some sort of update on a Tuesday, and then you're stuck or you can't get your update for hours after it's released because Steam Updater is doing its thing.
We had that problem way back in the day when we played Dead by Daylight.
Yeah.
Every Tuesday was like a nightmare.
Yep. Tuesday's the new off day. If you're playing a Steam game, take a Tuesday off, boys. Oh.
And it's short too. It's like 10 minutes and it feels like the end of the world.
Yeah, it was. It was literally like 5 minutes. I'm like, this is some bullshit. I'm done. I'm leaving. I'm walking away. Screw this shit. Yeah. So, yeah. Feels like the longest 10 minutes ever. But yeah. So I think the community as a whole, as far as like the forums go and the vocalists will say, a lot of the quality of life changes are just huge. The community's praising them for it, and I think all in all, it is making for a better game.
Yeah, fully agree.
Yeah, and with the campaign and the socket color reworks, like I've said, it's made my campaign run. Although I'm only in Act 6, but I'm playing very, very casual, like because I'm doing other things in the background.
No, it was the smoothest. It's probably in the smoothest campaign experience in years.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree. Because, I was fortunate enough to get a decent chess piece with 4-link, and it actually had a green socket because I am doing a Shadow Assassin Poisonous Concoction build, so I was able to throw my Poisonous Concoction in that green socket and get that 10% quality boost, and it's just been, yeah, I'm not having any trouble as to where there has been some Poisonous Concoction runs where I've like, okay, I'm stuck with like 2 link, occasional 3 link because of it, so you don't get that big power boost that you could potentially have.
Yes, sir.
So
I like it. I'm excited.
I'm excited. I love it. And I think the way that they implemented it, they made it very smooth. It still gives you, the player, okay, we need to find these sockets end game, right? So the end game still has a chase. Question, actually, when it comes to sockets and colors, I think I remember hearing or seeing or somebody telling me the bench, when it comes to the sockets, you can't do the bench colors anymore, right?
There's a way with the bench to like force colors.
Socket juggling, right?
You just add and remove sockets until you get the colors that you want. So you go like.
But the old recipes of I want 3 green and a blue or up to 4 colors, you could
I believe they're gone.
Okay, so they remove that. So obviously that still leaves in socket juggling, and you just remove a socket as many times as long as you got the currency to do so, right? You add and remove until you get the socket color that you want or a socket color you want, and then you go from 1 to 6. Now that gets expensive when you bounce for your last color socket, right? Because it's the 6 socket can be pretty expensive.
Well, you like it's probably not viable to do it for like body armors or weapons. Like you do it only on like 4 link gear.
Right. I kind of figured that much. So, but with that being said, chroma orbs have gone up. They've become more of an end game currency rather than a campaign currency.
Yes.
Right? So I haven't gotten there yet, but I'm kind of curious the economy price of a chroma orb in the end game.
It's like slightly more than 1 chaos orb. It's not crazy expensive, but a chrome is like chaos and a half, I think, right now.
Well, I'm Act 6 and I haven't seen a chroma orb yet, so that was kind of my thought process behind it. Like normally I would have seen dozens, if not 50 or more by now in Act 6.
Yeah.
But also we would also be vendoring a green, red, blue to the vendor to get a chroma as well.
Mm-hmm.
Which is that still a recipe?
I have no idea. I haven't done that recipe in years. I'd be lying. Dude, I do it so rarely, dude, that I didn't even like. Dude, I don't even know, man.
Gotcha. So you've been doing the new Charts and Voyages mechanic, right? I know you're doing mostly Ultimatum, but you have done the new mechanic, right? Mm-hmm. So with your experience and what you've done of it so far, would you say that the current payout of the mechanic, is it better or worse than your typical new league mechanic for lucrative farming purposes?
I never try to compare current things with things in the past because it's unfair because certain things are better than others. Like you take like leagues like Affliction and Mirage,
right?
Like they're just such interesting outliers that it's hard to make that comparison. But in terms of is it good? Should you do it? Is it rewarding? I at the start of the episode, I literally said I would only buy if I had the character that can do it, I would only buy and run charts exclusively.
Well, I think
it's really good.
Yeah. I've heard it's really good, and from a campaign experience, I've stopped to do it every chance I get. My very first one. My very first one, even knowing the idea and mechanic behind it, right? So when you first go into the mechanic, into I think it's the chart, right? You just go down, you go on the boat and you go down and you do the area, right? even though it explains to you, all right, you're gonna go in, you're gonna place these Allflame torches or whatever they're called. I can't remember the actual name of them. You're underwater, you're surrounded by water, you have this Allflame that's basically opening the area so that you're in it and you're not going to drown from the water like a drown orb, right? And then when you walk to the edge of the area that you can freely maneuver, you can either choose to manually place them, or you can set it up to automatically place them when you go into the water and you start this drown timer, which is like 5 seconds, I think. And that will open up the next area. So the first time I go down there, I do that. And then, you know, they tell you when you place the last one, the things will start collapsing and you'll have to run back to the ship. Well, in campaign, you don't typically have great maneuverability or a great move speed. So I was like, okay, cool. I run, I place the last lantern, and then I got all these enemies that surround me. So I got to try and kill them first while I'm trying to get out. And needless to say, I hit a small edge of the drown where it slows you down just immensely. And by that time, all the other things are shrinking. Everything's shrinking. I'm panicking. And then poof, I'm dead. And I'm like, shit. That was my first experience of the mechanic.
Yep. Sounds about right.
And a few of my buddies and friends said that's exactly how I died too. So as fun as it was, it definitely was an eye-opener of, okay, you place the last thing down, you know, and until you have a move speed build to get you through or transport you to the open zones where you can actually freely move and you don't get slowed by the water. You know, when you place that last one, it's time to just book it, basically.
Yep.
And obviously there's some strategies of like just placing in a circle around the boat or the initial drop down so that you don't really have to worry about that issue. But I know from what I've seen of some other streamers doing the mechanic, that's not always going to be the most lucrative way to farm the mechanic, which obviously makes sense.
There's a thing going around right now where Cute Dog got, hold on, I'll tell you. Let me pull it up.
Yep.
He got the thing on the voyage that said rare monsters in adjacent areas drop divine orbs. And he dropped 67 divs.
So kind of like so that's very similar to like a influenced map where you get like a divine altar, right?
From the altar, yeah.
Yeah.
It's rare, but it can happen.
Well, I've only seen 2 divine altars in my PoE 1 playtime ever, so I can understand.
Okay.
I would expect something like that to be pretty rare. So I hear it. But it is nice to see that there is some mechanics that are in the new League mechanic that are still undiscovered. But we find that to be the case with almost every new League mechanic, whether it's PoE 1 or PoE 2. You know,
people freak out too early and they don't give it a chance to explore.
Well, I mean, that's just the mentality of gamers these days. We want it and we want it now. You know what I'm saying? So, but all in all, I've had very lucrative drops and even currencies. I haven't gotten any divs, but I have found a decent amount of currencies that I can use for making my campaign run extremely smooth. I think I have a total of like 6 or 7 hours in the campaign, and I'm in Act 6, so it's not terrible time. I mean, I'm not fast, you know. You got these speedrunners that are in T15 maps in like 4 hours, but
I am not fast either, but I did have Eater and Exarch done on night 1.
So how many hours in was that though?
Like 12.
Like 12. Yeah. See, that's crazy. I mean,
and that scary part is that's slow.
I know.
That's the cooked part. Is that slow?
Yeah. No. I know.
I had Eater and Exarch done in 12 hours.
That's awesome though. That's awesome. And then do you have all 4 stones? I would assume you have all 4 stones by now, right?
So funny story. I actually have the 4th stone in my inventory on my character, but the quadrant that the stone goes in is completely unexplored.
So what does that mean?
That means that Cast When Stun can do ultimatum very, very, very well. Cast When Stun cannot complete maps to get to the stone place to put the stone in. So I'm literally stuck with this stone in my inventory.
Okay. That's I think when was that particular change implemented?
I don't know, 2 weeks ago maybe?
Okay, because
I don't remember.
I keep hearing the whole quadrants and things like that, and I didn't play the last PoE1 league, and I honestly was not going to play this PoE1 league. I honestly was going to just bow out, stick to PoE2 and Diablo 4, and there's a bunch of other games that have come out this month that I have been having a blast with. But I remember, and this will probably tell you the last time I played. The last time I played, I remember as soon as you get that stone, it was immediately placeable in your map area, right?
Yeah. Now you have to uncover it.
Right. So that makes sense. So now it's not only completing the objective for it, now you have to actually like open up the quadrant in the maps in order to actually utilize it.
Yep. You also have to like open up the quadrant. So like there's a lot of people that don't realize that like to do Eater and Exarch, for example, you have to open the quadrant, right? So I think it was last league. I think last league was the first league that they made this change. And you had to like if you didn't explore the bottom left quadrant, you weren't fighting Eater and Exarch when you got there. So
Gotcha.
Like with Ultimatum, for example, when I swapped to Ultimatums and I started getting inscribed Ultimatums, I didn't realize that I didn't have the area unlocked to run the inscribed Ultimatums. So I had to like suffer through map completion to certain areas. But I mean, it's my own damn fault, right? Like I like swapped to what I'm playing too early. But there's a lot of things that are just hidden in the fog that you have to like path to, which I understand why they do it. I'm not a fan of it, but I mean, like, it's fine. But it's like unnecessary friction.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that.
Like I have my stone, let me stick it in. Why do I gotta go all the way to the corner over here to find a hole to put it in? Let me just put it in. I killed the boss. I have it. Why do I gotta get punished for skipping steps? Like my character was powerful enough to do it. Why do I get punished for skipping steps?
I agree.
Note, I got it done before I swapped.
Right. Exactly. So, where were we going with that? Damn it.
Talking about the Atlas and changes and the stones and
Yeah.
The league mechanic and how the league mechanic changed and
right.
Is it viable? Is it not viable?
Right. So a lot of feedback, like early on, for the league mechanic is that it's not very good outside of like the campaign drops. I've heard that it's really good for XP.
It's insane for experience.
But actual like raw currency drops, it seemed lackluster. Is it enough?
Bro, this goes back to what I said earlier. I think people just overreacted and didn't give it enough time, and they just like parrot their favorite streamer because there were so many people who were saying that, and then there was the other half of the coin of people who were like, "Dude, this is awesome. I can do whatever the hell I want." So I think if you just like spent the time to really learn it, you really benefit from it. And if you just like didn't, you just kind of like he XD didn't think and just copied opinions of others, you struggled. But I mean, at the end of the day, like they still buffed it because people were unsatisfied. So I mean, like win-win.
Yeah, kind of. What I was gonna say is it was a very similar concept to, very similar concept to the temple when they introduced the temple into PoE 2. A lot of people were like, this is garbage, it's trash, we don't like it, it's no good, there's no drops, there's no currency. And then come to find out, when people actually explored and learned and figured out what worked well, it was the number one place to get experience. It was the number one place to get raw divines. It was the number one place to do just about everything. And it was insane payout. And the economy skyrocketed because of it once that information was released. But I definitely agree with you. I think a lot of people don't like the unnecessary friction when it comes to having to learn something new. And I think GGG is doing a good job of telling players without being, obscenely rude, to basically just fuck off and just learn what you don't know. You know what I'm saying? Because while they did buff the new league mechanic, there's still stuff in there that are still being found out till today, right? And it's the same thing with the Expedition League, the Expedition mechanic in PoE 2. People didn't have any clue how to do it or what was going on, but once people figured it out, like you and a bunch of the boys figuring out, okay, well, this means this or this does this, and when you put all this together, it's insane rewards. And I think the more people that come to the PoE 2 and PoE 1 franchise, right? They're learning that there is a lot to dive in and test and unfold the uncharted waters, so to say.
Yep.
And with that being said, I think more and more people are on the train to try and test before just giving immediate negative feedback. But you're always going to have those people that, if they can't get it working immediately, they're just gonna complain or jump on the bandwagon of their favorite streamer that's complaining.
Yep. Also very true.
The other addition in this league was a new ascendancy for
the Luminary,
the Scion. And while a lot of people are enjoying it, there is a lot of people that are dogging it. And it's not for, we'll say, like, bad reasons, right? So the Mercenaries going core is awesome. But is the Luminary actually worth building around, right? That's the question. And a lot of times when it comes to veteran players, they have two things that they say when it comes to new things being added into the game. One, this is going to be really, really freaking good and awesome. Or two, this is going to be shit and it's not going to work.
Yep.
While I held...
Luminary...
Go ahead.
Luminary is just... It's such an interesting thing, and there's so much to say. But I'll wait for you to say what you got first.
So, well, from what the community feedback has been, at least what I've read and what I've gotten into, a lot of people had a good time playing it, but when they get to the end game, they're struggling. Mercenary's not doing enough damage. It's not doing well enough, and it's just not, even with high investment, and this is just the community, okay? Not the 1%ers, all right? This is the generalized community. Even with decently high investment, the Luminaries, Mercenaries are just not performing as much as they should. That's the general feedback that I've seen on the forums and whatnot.
Luminary requires a mercenary. Luminary requires very specific mercenaries. Luminary mercenaries, like a player, require specific gear, skills, supports.
Mm-hmm.
If I pick up dipshit mercenary with bad supports and bad skills, he's not going to do anything.
Right.
What a lot of luminaries tend to not get is it's going to take time to find the correct mercenary. Maybe not the best league starter, but when you have the correct mercenary and you start getting it rolling, it's absurd. It's like completely crazy. But there are some luminaries that just don't think. And there's a guy, and if he listens to this, he's gonna know who he's gonna know it's him. He was in chat the other day, and he was just like, I wouldn't say complaining, but he was very unhappy. You know, I'm in Act 5. This is the worst experience ever. My mercenary is not killing. Blah 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 blah.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay, so tell me about your mercenary. So he tells me about the mercenary. He didn't want to go search for a new one. I said, okay. So I said, why aren't you killing things? And he goes, what do you mean? I said, why don't you just equip poison concoction and throw some flask? Why don't you equip explosive concoction and throw some flask?
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you go get toxic rain and kill some mobs? He goes, what do you mean? I'm a luminary. My merc's supposed to do it. And I was like, correct. But you have this problem where you have a bad merc. You're waiting for a better one to show up. You don't want to specifically farm one. Why aren't you taking the steps to just progress instead of bitching?
Yep.
And he's like, I didn't think about that because it's the mercenary class. And I was just like, correct. But it's like you and a mercenary.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the big things that a lot of people don't get, right? Like, I know you've ran into some, and I know that I've ran into some, and I've seen plenty of players that are in the end game, T16 maps or even better, that they run into a mercenary, and that mercenary just claps them. Like, poof, you're dead. Like, you didn't have to stand a chance. And while that's...
Bro, I sold a mercenary yesterday for 20 divs. Somebody bought it.
Yeah.
Because it was like, they're crazy. They're so good.
Right. I agree. And with that being said, back to the whole, my mercenary should be doing it through the campaign. Like, in order to get a decent mercenary, right, you also have to be able to combat that mercenary and win that combat, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
if you're completely relying on a mercenary,
yeah.
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 But I will agree, like you said, obviously not maybe the best league starter to completely rely on your mercenary, but in the end game, I 100% agree that there is a world where that, yeah, you do literally, you won't do damage. You're going to buff or maybe support your mercenary 100%. And that's feasible, but not as necessarily a league starter in my eyes.
I have a friend who's giga juicing right now as a luminary, and he's just a full on support bot for his merc.
Yeah, I heard that. And that's awesome. But like you said, like early on, especially like in order to get that juiced mercenary, you gotta either one, be able to combat it yourself, or two, have earned enough currency to be able to buy that mercenary, right?
Yep.
Since they are tradable now, which was really cool. I like that. I love that concept. But
I actually I'm not a luminary, and I actually use a mercenary in every single map. I will literally, before I do my ultimatum, go find the mercenary and drag it to the ultimatum and have it die in the ultimatum and then help me through the ultimatum.
Yep. I saw that, and that's awesome. And the fact that I was very on the edge of mercenaries being temporary, but I think that they're strong enough that without them being permanent, they still actually can help you a good amount when you do run into them in your maps, and then they help you through the map and the areas. So
I would rather them be permanent.
I definitely agree, but I think with where they're at, as far as like giving the luminary a identity, I'm okay. I'll settle with them being temporary.
Mm-hmm.
Because
sure,
if you
makes sense.
Right. So it allows that luminary to actually have an identity. But I do agree with you. I loved the permanent mercenaries and how you could actually like build around them kind of. But I also think that might be kind of like a Diablo 2 nostalgia feeling where we got to have that permanent mercenary as well. But
I mean, it's
knows?
not just like this game though that you have permanent mercs. It's a lot of different games that have mercenaries. They're all permanent.
True. Yeah, you're not wrong. Oh, there's quite a few different games. Yeah, you're not wrong.
Here, I mean, you have permanent mercenaries in Hero Siege.
Yeah.
Like, so yeah.
Yeah. No. It makes sense. It makes sense. I definitely saw all three aspects when they were permanent, where you had, you know, the mercenary supported you and did damage, and then the mercenary just did all your damage and you supported the mercenary. And we did see all three of those cases. So not too sure about that decision and why they decided, outside of, like I said, giving the Luminary an identity.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing that I can actually tie that decision to. And while I'm not necessarily 100% for it, I'm okay with it for now.
Yeah, I can see that. Yep.
But one of the other things that I saw was people talking about, you know, mana and caster concerns. You know, did casters get enough love, or is this another league where melee slam hype overshadows spell builds and buffs?
You know, that I have not heard. I have no idea about that, to be honest with you. I haven't heard from any casters that have had like a rough experience.
Dude, I think it's so hard to really talk about casters because it seems like just about every and any game that has casters, they're just so good. There's not really in any game that I've noticed been a middle ground. It's literally either they're so good or they're so bad. You're right. It's hard to balance casters and ranged classes in general to be actually compatible, I guess, or head to head with all the different builds and classes of the game, just because a lot of enemies, you know, they have a variety of enemies, whether you got ranged casting enemies or melee enemies, and it's really hard to keep up with that aspect while not allowing the casters that have to be ranged and be a little bit more squishy, or however you want to say it, to keep that balanced and in line with all the other classes. I think even GGG's said this many times. Like, when it comes to ranged classes and casters, it would be so much easier to balance them with the melees if there was no melee. Balancing the melee with the ranged is just a really hard thing to do, and I'm actually running into that same concept in the game that I'm developing, which gives me a lot of perspective behind the development of a game and things that you would never ordinarily think about come to fruition. And it's like, okay, that makes a lot more sense as to why they don't do this or don't do that, or they do this and do that. And it's not always it's just a Band-Aid to fix it. No, there's a lot more that goes into the development of a game that any video game player will ever realize. And it's been a fun journey to be able to learn some of those intricacies that actually go behind the development of a game. But yeah, there was just a few that I saw some people posting different things, you know, the mana changes and caster balancing that they kind of did. I want to say in the beginning when they first brought it up, it was like more of a buff to casters, right? That we saw like in patch notes. Well, it was supposed to be, right? Yeah. But, you know, you got some people saying that, you know, the caster buffs feel a little bit weak compared to some of the melee and slam improvements. But we'll see. I haven't really talked to any casters. I think most of the people that I've been watching are some of your standard meta builds that I feel like they've just been around so long that the people that are building them don't really have trouble with them or building them. So, you know, like Righteous Fire is still insanely good, very easy. Dad gamer experience, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But outside of that, I think that's the majority of the different stuff. The only other thing that I did see a lot of in the forums, and I too raise my hand for this, and I'm pretty sure you also will raise your hand for this, is players are more and more players are requesting one more quality of life change in PoE 1. And that is, drum roll please, WASD movement.
That's never coming. That's a fucking pipe dream. They just need to bite the bullet, accept the rigging's going to look like shit, and just give it to us, but it's never going to come.
So, while I don't necessarily believe one way or the other, I will say that a standard implementation of WASD movement could be easy, right? They could just throw it in there and do kind of the way, what was it? PD2 did, Project Diablo 2 did.
I was going to bring that up, yeah.
And, you know, you can move with it, but then, you know, I know PoE 2 has its own animations and casting and stuff like that, where it's like when you do cast your stuff or do your stuff, it doesn't stop you. You have that like slowed down movement, right? And I think that's kind of what people are used to from PoE 2. But if PoE 1 did implement that whole WASD, because of the core mechanics and the core base and the engine of what PoE 1 is running on and doing, it would just have to be exactly the same way the game works now. I would be okay with that. I would be totally okay with, you know, I stop, turn, cast said spell or attack or whatever, and then continue moving on after I cast it. Or the micro stutter movement because I'm casting fast as I'm trying to back off. So
yeah, I would be okay with the stop and go too. Like I know they don't want that, but I would be okay with it. I mean, granted, like casting and moving feels a lot better, but it would just save my wrist, and I'm all about saving my wrist.
I completely agree. I completely agree. But outside of that, we do have a few other things. Not a lot, just a couple. I did want to talk about Halo. I know you and I were talking earlier about Halo and growing up to Halo. And while you may not be a current Halo player, I am, and I will play the new Halo titles just because it's such a nostalgic event. And boy, am I glad to have played this new remake of the original start for the Halo franchise. Or should I say,
just came out, right?
The Halo series. Yeah. So if you bought the premium or deluxe edition, you were able to play on last Thursday, about 6 days ago. But the standard game released on Tuesday, yesterday, as of recording today. And what they've done to the remake while still keeping it original. I mean, there's been both sides of the coin. You know, some people love it, some people hate it. But when it comes to a remake, I don't know if you know the differences between like a remake or a reskin or a remastered. All of them have their different what they're accomplishing, right? So D2R, in my eyes, was like a remaster reskin, basically, right? Where you can, before the newest expansion, you know, Reign of the Warlock, you could revert and show the old school graphics, right? So it was for the most part a reskin with some reworkings, giving it that remaster type feel, right? That's more of a reskin. The Master Chief edition the Master Chief Collection, I believe, did more of a reskin for the Halo 1 Combat Evolved. But this Halo 1 remake, which is called Halo 1 Campaign Evolved, is a remake. And what they've done in this Halo is they've completely redone and revamped the whole campaign. It is still the original story, the original objectives. It's the general maps. You're still doing all the same stuff, but they've thrown in some extra things. So with the remake, you have a lot of different guns and arsenals that you have the ability to use that have come from the entire series of the Halos. So like the SMG or the Needler rifle, or I want to say the laser. I don't remember if the laser was in one or not, but you have a lot of these guns and weaponry that were not originally available in Halo, and I think that was a really cool addition. And I also think they have a total of do you remember the skulls from Halo, right?
Vaguely.
So for those of you that don't know, the skulls were basically like hidden objects that were hidden throughout the campaign, and you had to find them. And they were normally in obscure spots or hidden somewhere that, like, sometimes it was easy for you to find. Other times it was like, how the hell would you have ever found this?
Yep.
And when you find this skull, it would give you a special ability that you could change the way that your campaign plays. For example, there'd be a skull that reduced your ammo, right? You would find the ammo would be scarce. Or there was a skull that would, when you shoot a grunt in the head, the little party confetti would shoot out of it when he died, right? Different skulls like that. Well, in this remake, they've added about like 30 high 20s, low 30s amount of skulls. I want to say there was like 13 skulls in the original. I could be wrong. There might be more. But in this remake, there's 42 skulls that you can find, like 3 per level, I think is what I've heard somebody say.
Okay.
So there's a lot of skulls, new arsenals. You can find and do a lot of different things. One of the cool skulls that you find in the very first level is a skull that allows you to use like third-person view. So now you can actually play in third person.
Cool.
Right. So that was cool. But all in all, I just wanted to say so far, I'm not extremely far because I believe that in Halo, there's only one difficulty, and that would be the legendary difficulty. If you're playing on anything other than that, you're not experiencing the true Halo experience, where you get your ass slapped back to the respawn checkpoint many, many, many times. But
the third person part sounds really cool.
Yeah, it's definitely cool to have like a slew of new skulls, and they also added, I think there was like 3 new missions that they added that are not in the original game. So definitely, definitely a good remake so far, and the world is beautiful. They've done a really good job. I'm excited to finish playing through the campaign and see the different changes that they got. With that being said, there's also word, I have not 100% confirmed this, but there's also words going around that they are actively working on a Halo 2 and Halo 3 remake as well. And I'm excited.
Oh, it's cool.
Yes, I'm excited because Halo 2 was the introduction to Xbox Live multiplayer matchmaking, which sucked up the majority of my online internet youth life.
Yeah, I know plenty of people that have that same experience.
I mean, it's just such an iconic, like Halo and Call of Duty. It's like those were like the those were like the two games when it came to first person shooters. Like if you didn't know one, you knew the other. If you didn't know both, I dabbled in both. I enjoyed both. And I know you were a shooter at some point, because I know you've been into some Arc Raiders, which they're doing some changes in Arc Raiders that
I have not kept up. I know I should. I've been thinking about it a lot lately. I'm going back to it, dude.
It's been fun. Actually, while we're here, and this is going to be kind of the closer of the topic. I know you got places to go into prep for and whatnot. Arc Raiders added some multiplayer like matchmaking changes. So, before it was like if you're playing solo, a lot of people would try to get into those friendly lobbies, right?
Yeah.
But then when they went and played with their friend in duos or trios, you would shoot raiders and you would get put into those, unfriendly lobbies. So you'd have to go back to solos and you'd have to start over and like go get your butt kicked. Yeah. Anyways, so with one of the most recent updates, they are working or they worked on a separate queue system for each. So now you can go into duos, shoot the shit up, and then when you and your friend are done shooting shit up, you guys separate. You can go back into your solos and you're going to automatically be in your match-made friendly lobbies, if that's what you were in, obviously.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so those are separate. I think that was a really good change, and they're also working on, they just put out something, I think it was yesterday, that they're also working on a defensive standpoint. So, for example, if you are running and you get shot by a raider, you're automatically put on the defensive target. So you're now just defending yourself. So you can take out that raider and go knock him out.
Okay, yeah, I read about that and how people are already like running into the line of fire on people purposely. So like I was reading about that this morning, and that's like what I was like got me back into thinking about Arc Raiders. I was reading about this morning. People are like going to the matriarch lobbies and like jumping into like literally leaping off of like cliffs and stuff to get hit by bullets. So they can go turn around and kill people.
That's hilarious. I know they're working on that type of stuff and whatnot. And I think they even said while it is still in testing, they're actually like that's not going to give you as much of a mark, I guess would be the best way to put it. They said that this is their words, is that they said that they're going to be working on that type of stuff. So like a stray bullet, that would be considered a stray bullet, and it's not going to be as impactful as a like if there's no other target around. So I hope that they hit that mark right, and those people that are trying to pull that shit just get sent to the abyss. As far as like, oh nope, you were the one that actually started it. That was just a stray bullet. You chose to actually target them. But we'll see if they hit that. If they hit that part on the head with the hammer, it will be a chef's kiss change. Like I think that's really good, and Arc Raiders is definitely going in a good direction as far as like fun.
Yeah, I'm excited. I haven't played it in a while. I want to get back into it. So when I saw some of the stuff coming out, or like I started hearing rumblings of some of these stuff come out, I was pretty excited.
Yeah, it seems pretty good. It seems pretty promising. I've personally seen a few of my friends that stream playing it, and so far so good. We'll go from slaughtering or getting slaughtered topside together to us both going back into our friendly solo lobbies with, of course, you got those random people that are either A, trying to get out of friendly lobbies in solos, or B, they just are in the mix and are thrown into that friendly lobby randomly and occasionally. Or you got the rats that like to just mess with friendly raiders to begin with. But
yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting.
Yep, it's definitely.
I'd like to start playing more like other stuff. Like I've had the inkling to replay Expedition 33 recently. You know, like I just, you know, I don't know. I just
You
feel like
played-
doing some games.
No, I agree, and that's actually where I've been stuck. I've been playing so many different games outside of the video game that I'm developing, which is crazy. I never thought that. I never thought in a million years that I would literally not want to turn on a video game purely because I want to work. And while, yeah, working on developing a video game is not necessarily work if you enjoy what you're doing, it's not the same as playing a video game. I'll tell you what, the biggest hurdle that I can say that I've had so far is when you implement something into your game or whatever you're working on, right? And you're just doing minor changes and updates and you're going step by step, having to replay the same thing 4,763 times because you have to test something and it's not like immediately where you start. I totally can understand the frustration of certain aspects in games. And it's like, yeah, we know that they had to deal with this millions of times. Why didn't they catch this small issue from the get-go? Just it brings a whole new perspective. And I will be insanely happy when I can actually share with you guys and you as well, Travic, in the weeks to come. In the weeks to come, I should have some sort of playable, I won't say demo, but more of like a showcase of kind of like what I'm working on, what's going on. It's going to be fun, and I'm excited. Thank you for working with me on it. It's going to be fun. But I just transferred from a JavaScript base, which is basically like a web browser game, into the Godot engine. So I'm actually fully transferred into an actual engine-based game and not just a browser game. So it's exciting.
That's cool.
It is. So now I got to deal with physics and why this damn projectile hits the wall and not the enemy and all that good stuff.
Fun problems to overcome.
Yes. All in all, it is fun. I've been working on it for a few months now, and it seems like I've done nothing. So, anyways, for now, friends, I think that is where we will call this episode. And we enjoyed talking about all the good things and potentially some of the bad things about PoE 1.
Absolutely. It's always a good time.
It's always a pleasure. So thanks again, Mr. Travic, for joining me in another episode of Loot Farming and Gossip XD. And until next time, we'll see you later, guys.
See you.
Bye.
Static buzz in the midnight air. Traffic and spook are in the gamer's lair. Loot drops falling like a neon rain. Pixel worlds driving us insane. Halo rings light up the fight. Sonic speed blurs through the night. Diablo's demons in the dungeon's breath. Path of exile, paths leading to death. Loot farming gossip in the glow. Digital whispers in the flow. EverQuest dreams keep us alive. Dead by daylight screams collide. Talk of bosses grinding bones. Legends born in gaming zones. Quests that stretch beyond the frame. In this podcast we name the game. Controllers on the heartbeat song. Spookers laugh keeps the vibe strong. Travic's words cut through the noise. Gaming tales from girls and boys. Loot farming gossip in the glow. Digital whispers in the flow. EverQuest dreams keep us alive. Dead by daylight screams collide. strong. Traffic's words cut through the noise. Gaming tales from girls and boys. The farming gossip in the glow. Digital whispers in the flow. EverQuest streets keep us alive. Dead by daylight screams collide.